Have you ever had a dream so real you knew it wasn't a dream at all, but a warning? Have you ever seen the lights go out and thought, just for a second, that they'd never come back on again? Draw the curtains, light a candle, and turn off the lights. It's story time. You've entered the 13th cycle. Chapter 1, The Door to Death. Written by Twyla Hallow. Narrated by Jessica Tigan. Part 3. This was something Scarlett hadn't seen before. The door at the end of the hallway was there, like it was every night, but tonight it was standing open, like a wide, gaping mouth. Scarlett and Hazel halted a few paces back and hung there, staring into the void, trying to see beyond it. But it was useless. It was like staring into a well with no bottom, just deep, pitch black nothingness. Hazel swallowed.
"You think she went in there?"
she whispered. Scarlett's jaw tightened. "You said before that everything happens for a reason. Do you think this is happening for a reason too? That's why we can all see it, isn't it?" Hazel looked at her, round-eyed, scared. She nodded.
"I think so."
Scarlett's eyes flicked to the void, then back to Hazel. "Do you want to go in there and get her?" Hazel nodded again, this time with quiet certainty. She reached out and grabbed Scarlett's hand. Her grip was warm and firm, not trembling like Scarlett expected. Scarlett's throat tightened. She closed her eyes, heart drumming in her ears. She squeezed Hazel's hand back, making a silent promise. Together, they stared into the dark, into the unknown, standing at the threshold of the door to death. Then, they took a step. It felt like stepping off the edge of something. As they passed through it, the darkness fell away, and they could see clearly. They were still in the hallway of the dorm building, only the light had shifted. Instead of a warm yellow glow overhead, there was nothing. No light. But it wasn't completely dark. The whole hall was cast in a bluish pall, like moonlight underwater. And it was cold. Freezing cold.
"Did we?"
Hazel faltered.
"Where are we?"
Scarlett didn't let go of her hand. She squeezed it tighter, her eyes scanning the strange, silent corridor. "We're still in the dorm," she said, frowning. Hazel swept her eyes in a slow circle, taking it in.
"I don't think so,"
she said hesitantly, a pit opening in her stomach. Scarlett was mistaken. This wasn't their dorm. This was somewhere else. Somewhere bad. The light was wrong. The air was wrong. It felt like the whole place had been flipped inside out. Scarlett tried to sound confident. She lifted a hand and gestured. "It is. See? Here's my room." But it wasn't. The number on the door was different. Where 217 should have been, it now read 214. She frowned. She turned her head to the other side of the hall. There was 217. Everything's backwards. It's like a mirror version of the dorm building, Scarlett muttered. She broke free and charged forward, Hazel trotting behind her. Together, they rounded the corner and found themselves standing in front of Penelope's room. The door was open a crack. Scarlett planted a palm on the door and pushed. The door swung open. At first glance, the room looked almost exactly as they had left it, seconds ago. But the light was different. A sickly, pale glow that seemed to come from nowhere. The air was cold and damp. Then, the smell hit them. Musty, metallic, with a faint, acrid edge like something burnt. That's when they saw the wall. Behind Ella's bed, thick black ooze streaked down in jagged ribbons. It clung to the wall like tar, glossy and wet-looking. The surface was practically painted in it. Splatters radiated outward in wide arcs like from an impact, or a rupture, as if something on the bed had burst and whatever it was had sprayed itself across the walls. Hazel staggered back a step, gagging. Scarlett inched forward, slowly crouching beside the bed, shivering as she peered at the oozing drips on the wall. "What happened here?" she whispered. She didn't dare touch it.
"Where's Penelope?"
Hazel asked behind her. Scarlett straightened, frowning. "Maybe it got her already. Maybe she's..." She trailed off, anxious. Then, without warning, she seized Hazel's hand and dragged her from the room. They tore down the hall, Scarlett leading the way. But when they hit the stairs, she didn't go down. She went up, past the top floor, past the exit sign flickering above the stairwell door, up to the roof, to the water tank. They stepped out into a strange light, flat and colorless, as if the sky had been scrubbed clean of sun, moon, or stars. There was no clear source to the glow. It just hung there, dull and dead, washing everything in the same sickly gray color. The air was still and stagnant and breezeless. It didn't move, not even a little, like they weren't really outside at all. More like trapped inside a box pretending to be the sky. Hazel's breath hitched.
"I see her!"
They flew, racing across the roof, over unfurled strips of tar paper, dodging low vents and hulking AC units that rose like tombstones before them. The water tank loomed at the far end, massive and rusted. Penelope sat on the edge of a concrete platform beneath the tank, legs dangling. Someone was seated next to her, facing her, talking to her. Ella. Only, in this world, Ella looked like her pictures. Her skin was smooth and pink. Her hair fell neatly around her shoulders. She wasn't blue or dead-eyed or dripping wet. She was normal, alive, like none of the awful things had ever happened. As they got up close, Penelope turned. Surprise flickered across her face, then guilt. She opened her mouth, then closed it, searching them with her eyes. "I'm sorry." "It's okay," Scarlett muttered, half meaning it. Penelope climbed to her feet, explaining. "I looked for her for hours. I finally found her out here. I'm trying to get her to come back with me." Scarlett frowned. "Hours? How is that possible?" Hazel knelt by the concrete slab.
"Ella, is that you? Are you okay?"
Ella darted her eyes up, startled, scared.
"I can't find my keys. I've been trying to go home, but I can't find my car keys."
"She's confused," Penelope offered. "I've been talking to her. Sometimes she seems to know where she is, and sometimes she doesn't." Scarlett brushed past them. She reached down and grasped Ella's hand, hauling her up with a firm tug. "We're going now, Ella. I have your keys. Just come with me." Without waiting for a reply, she turned and headed back across the roof, weaving through the maze of vents and rusting equipment. Ella followed, confused but compliant, Hazel and Penelope close behind. When they reached the stairs, Scarlett threw open the heavy door and dragged Ella through it. They turned onto the steps and started down, footsteps echoing around them in the empty stairwell. They hit the second-floor landing and stepped out into the dorm hallway, then skidded to a stop. Something was wrong. The door was gone. In its place, a blank stretch of wall, smooth and seamless, like it had never been there at all. "No, no, no, no!" Scarlett shouted, rushing forward, hands in her hair. "We took too long. It's fucking shut, god damn it!" She bolted up to it, fists balled up, and started pounding. Then she lost it, let out a strangled scream, and gave the wall a furious kick. "How will we get back out if the door is gone?" Hazel asked, eyes wide. "Are we trapped here until tomorrow night?" Scarlett stepped back, hands tugging at her hair. "I don't know. I don't know how this works."
"You mean the big black door?"
Ella offered. "Yes." Penelope stepped in front of her, grabbing her by the shoulders. "The big black door that was here. How do we get it back?"
"I walked through it the night I moved in. It asked me to come inside,"
Ella murmured. She blinked up at Penelope.
"Can you help me find my keys?"
Scarlett snapped. "This is so fucked up. We don't know when the door is coming back. Hazel and I went through at what? 3:13 a.m.? Something like that. Penelope, when did you go through?" Penelope blinked. 3:11. Scarlett went pale. 2 minutes? That's not right. You said it had been hours. Confusion flickered across Penelope's face, then panic. "I looked at my phone right before. I swear it said 3:11 a.m. Scarlett sputtered. "You're lying. Or you're wrong. How could that be?" "I don't know," Penelope shouted back, red creeping up into her cheeks. "I've been here for hours. Like I said, that's the truth. I was here long enough to search every inch of the building. You can't leave, by the way. The doors on the ground floor won't open. Neither will any of the windows. They're sealed. We're trapped inside Marin Hall." Scarlett opened her mouth, then clamped it shut again. Her eyes darted to the wall, then back to Penelope. And then it hit. A slow, sickening wash of understanding. Her insides dropped like the floor had vanished beneath her. "You're telling me 2 minutes there is 2 hours here? So, if we have to wait a whole day for the door to come back, that's what, like 1,000 hours?"
"If each minute is an hour, 1,440. 60 days,"
Hazel mumbled. Scarlett threw her head back and laughed, hollow and mirthless. "Your little suicide stunt turned out great, Penelope! Now we're trapped in a fucked up simulation with a walking cadaver, and the only way out doesn't show up again for another 60 fucking days?"
"You'll be dead before then."
Ella's voice wavered from behind them. The vacant glaze was gone. She looked awake, lucid. Her eyes moved slowly, flicking to each of them, one by one, like she was counting them. Then her head tilted.
"It'll be here any second. It's coming to kill you."
No one spoke. They just stared back at her, wide-eyed, paralyzed. Then Penelope stepped forward. "What's coming? Ella, what happened after you went through the door? How did you wind up in the water tank?" Ella blinked.
"I don't know. I don't remember."
Scarlett seized her by the shoulders, frantic. "You just remembered a second ago. Try to remember again. Think. You said something was going to kill us. What is it?" Ella's eyes flicked toward Scarlett.
"I'm not sure, but it's not human."
Their first stop was the utility closet. Scarlett remembered seeing an old emergency preparedness kit full of flashlights and first aid supplies inside a cabinet at the far end, so that's where they went. The battered metal cabinet was still there, just as she remembered, buried behind rusty metal shelves and cleaning supplies and flipped around backwards like everything else. Scarlett shoved past the junk until she was in front of it, then yanked it open and plunged in, elbow deep, emerging a few seconds later with a canvas bag. Inside were supplies, dusty but intact. A battered first aid kit, a coil of duct tape, a whistle on a frayed lanyard, a bundle of folded masks, a pack of glow sticks, and 3 fat, heavy flashlights. Scarlett dropped to her knees and flipped the bag over. Gear clattered across the floor. She started handing things up one by one. Penelope took a flashlight, clicked it on, and swung the beam around the room.
"Turn that off. I don't want it to find you,"
Ella whispered. Hazel cracked a glow stick and held it out in front of her.
"Ella, how is it you're here? You said you were killed, that it killed you. But you seem alive."
Scarlett zipped the bag up and straightened, flashlight in hand. "She's dead. You're talking to her ghost." "That can't be. We saw her ghost already. She was..." Penelope could feel Ella's eyes on her. She backtracked, choosing more tactful words. "She was different. My guess is this world, wherever we are, it split her in half, fracturing her spirit across 2 dimensions. She's trapped in both worlds, but she's not alive in either. It killed her. I can tell you where, too."
"The bedroom,"
Hazel muttered. Scarlett nodded. "That's where it chewed her up. She's all over the walls in there. Then it spit her out in the water tank." Penelope shivered. Her fingers tightened around the flashlight. "We can't save her then? She's already gone?" Scarlett looked at Ella, standing in front of them, confused, helpless, pitiful. Like a shadow trying to remember how to be a person. She looked away. "The best we can do is try to release her spirit." Penelope stared down at the floor, mouth moving. "Release me." Hazel caught it. "What was that?" Penelope lifted her eyes up. "Release me. It's what she said to me before I went through the door." Scarlett pulled her brows together. She wrapped her fingers around the flashlight tighter. "Did she say anything else?" Penelope nodded. "Burn it." They were moving slowly through the hallway now, flashlights playing across the line of doors, not knowing what they were looking for. "Burn it," Scarlett said again, testing the words out loud. "We can't light the dorms on fire as long as we're stuck inside. It'll kill us." "I don't even know how to start a fire." Hazel pushed open a door and peered inside the room beyond. Empty. "I might be able to. I was a Girl Scout," Penelope offered, swinging her flashlight beam into the stairwell. They started to descend, their steps echoing around them. "Of course you were," Scarlett sneered. "Don't bother. If you want fire, I got us covered. I always carry a lighter." "Of course you do," Penelope laughed. "So, we have to find something and burn it. Is that right, Ella?" Hazel turned to face Ella hopefully. Ella didn't answer. Her eyes drifted to the end of the hall, head cocked like she was listening intently, just not to them. They were on the first floor now. Scarlett heaved herself against the entrance doors. They didn't give. Penelope gave the handles a half-hearted jiggle. "How do you know this stuff? You were the one who figured out what was behind the door." Scarlett rubbed her shoulder. "Just a hunch, based on some stuff I've read. I'm studying this, paranormal shit. I decided a few months ago I want to figure out what happens when you die. It's my latest hyperfixation." "What happened a few months ago?" Hazel asked quietly. Scarlett stiffened, caught off guard. She blinked. "Nothing. I just decided I wanted to know." "Studying it, like in school?" Penelope glanced sideways at her. "Yeah, and online. There's a lot of paranormal stuff out there." They took a few steps in silence. Hazel cleared her throat and tried again.
Ella, what are we supposed to burn to help free you?
Ella heard her this time. She swayed slightly like a reed in a breeze, eyes glistening.
You have to burn the demon,
she whispered, voice distant.
That's what he told me. That's how you kill it.
Scarlett snapped her flashlight beam over to Ella. Who told you that? Ella blinked slowly, as though searching inside her head.
A man told me.
They slowed to a stop in a dim corridor and circled around Ella. Scarlett leaned forward, her voice sharp. What man? Are you saying someone else came through the door, like we did? Ella shook her head slowly.
I don't know. I turned around and he was standing here in the hallway.
Hazel's stomach nodded.
And he told you to burn the demon? Yes. He wanted to help me, like you do. He told me I have to burn it so I can leave. He was sad for me, but he didn't stay.
Ella murmured. Scarlett narrowed her eyes. How did he leave? Through the door? Ella's gaze drifted over her shoulder.
No. The wall.
Hazel and Penelope exchanged a look. Scarlett jumped on it. How did he leave through the wall? Ella shrugged.
He just sort of walked through it. Right there.
She lifted a finger.
Turned sideways and stepped.
Hazel's voice tightened. What did he look like? Was he young, old? Ella's brow furrowed, eyes searching as if she'd misheard.
It was hard to tell, but I think he was very, very old.
Penelope crossed to the wall, feeling along it with her fingertips. It didn't give. She twisted back. Right here, Ella? Ella nodded faintly, though her attention had already wandered off into the distance. Penelope turned sideways, pressed her shoulder to the wall, and took a deep breath. She squeezed her eyes shut, shuffled back a step, then flung her weight against it. The plaster didn't even wobble. Penelope bounced off it, stumbling, rubbing her shoulder where it hit. That's no way out. She's delusional, she muttered resentfully, flashing Ella a cold glare. Hazel caught Ella's wrists gently and leaned in. Their eyes met, but Ella wasn't really looking back. It was like she was only half in her body.
What you're saying, none of it makes sense. You said there's a demon, but we've been wandering around the dorm for hours. There's no demon here. Where can we find it?
Ella didn't answer right away. Her gaze slid past them, down the hall.
You don't have to find it. It already found you.
Penelope's breath hitched. What are you talking about? Ella's voice dropped.
It's been following us since you turned on the flashlight.
Slowly, Penelope turned, her beam sweeping the hallway. It stretched before them, long and empty, the walls flickering in pale blue light. Silent, still as death.
I don't see anything,
Hazel whispered. Then Penelope's flashlight stuttered. The beam blinked, once, twice, and for a breathless second the air rippled, like heat rising off asphalt. Then the light cut out completely. Shit, she muttered, shaking it. That's when they heard it. A growl, sharp and low, that might have been mistaken for an animal, except it didn't sound like it came from a mouth. Scarlett raised her flashlight and swept it around. The beam glanced off walls, ceiling, floor, then landed straight down the hallway. They blinked. The hallway was growing. It stretched before their eyes, the floor sliding back, impossibly long, like it was unfolding itself 1 inch at a time. What had been 10 or 15 feet of hall now seemed to go on forever, vanishing into blackness at the end, as if they were staring down an empty, bottomless well. The darkness was spreading, deepening, swallowing everything. Shadows crawled across the plaster, blooming like ink in water. The beams from their flashlights seemed weaker, vanishing after just a few yards as if they were being eaten. Then, at the farthest edge, almost lost in the darkness, a shape blinked into existence. 2 fleshy white pustules. Eyes. Milky white and glowing, hovering high up, practically at the ceiling, too high off the ground to belong to any human face. Penelope took a step back. "What is that?" The eyes blinked. A shape behind the eyes emerged. The eyes stayed in place, but the shape behind moved, twisting, warping. Suddenly, it was closer. The growl rumbled again, a warped, wet, echoing rattle like a demonic rainstick turned upside down. Then, another sound, sharp like something scraping against the walls. Whatever it was coming towards them. It stepped closer. A head floated into view, small and shriveled, skin puckering around the bulbous eyes that shone like wet, glistening marbles. Another step. They could see 2 enormous arched horns spiral from the top of it, curling like a goat's, scraping against the ceiling as it moved. Behind the grotesque face loomed a towering body draped in stringy, matted hair. Its arms dangled low, dragging on the ground, its legs bent backward. There was no way around it. Even folded in half, the thing barely fit in the hall. It hovered there for a moment, silent, heaving, watching them with those milky, unblinking eyes. "Run," Scarlett croaked, the words sticking in her throat. Nobody moved. The monster took another step, faster this time, antlers dragging along the ceiling with a grating screech. Then it was moving, loping on all 4s, arms swinging wide and straight like it was walking on stilts, eyes blinking with each step. It was coming for them. Scarlett grabbed Penelope's arm and yanked hard. "Run!" she screamed. That time, they heard it. They ran, tore down the hallway, crashing into one another as they scrambled into the stairwell and flew up the stairs. 2 at a time, bodies lit up with adrenaline. They hit the top floor and tumbled out, breathless and frantic, not knowing where they were running to. Behind them, the stairwell trembled. Thunderous, bone-jarring thuds echoing from below as the creature smashed its way upward after them. Scarlett looked over her shoulder, right, then left, then broke into a sprint. She raced down the corridor, terror clawing up her throat, 1,000 panicked, half-formed plans spinning through her mind. Up ahead, a flash of metal and glass caught her eye. She skidded to a stop, lunging toward the box on the wall, framed in red, the words, "In case of emergency," stamped across the top. Inside sat an axe, a hose, a heavy fire extinguisher. She squared herself, then hauled her arm back and slammed her fist into the glass. Shards exploded with a violent crack, spraying in all directions. She shoved her hand into the shattered glass, skin snagging and slicing on the edges. Her fingers found the axe. She pulled it loose, blood trailing down her wrist. Behind her, Penelope shouted, "What are you—" The rest was drowned out. A blood-curdling shriek ripped through the air behind them, shrill and gut-wrenching. They whipped around. Hazel lay sprawled on the floor, arms flailing, fingers scrabbling for anything to hold on to. The demon towered over her like something out of a nightmare, massive and bent, one long arm wrapped tight around her ankle. It was dragging her backwards into the dark, her scream slicing through the air as her fingernails dug frantically into the carpet. Scarlett moved fast. She sprang forward, wedging herself between Hazel and the creature. She raised the axe above her head, then brought it down with all her weight behind it. The blade sank deep into the monster's arm. The bone inside splintered with a crack. A deafening howl split the air in two, the kind of sound that didn't come from lungs. The creature reared back, swinging the mangled arm above wildly as ichor sprayed out in a thick black torrent, splattering everywhere. Penelope lunged into view, dropped to her knees, and hooked her arms under Hazel's shoulders, dragging her upright. She ripped the severed hand from Hazel's leg, and together they stumbled back, limbs tangled, gasping. Scarlett didn't move. She tightened her grip on the axe, palms slippery with sweat and blood, staring up, frozen. The monster reared back and opened its hideous mouth. From deep inside came a roar that rattled the floor beneath their feet. It convulsed, twisting and writhing in pain, limbs flailing wildly, smashing into doors and lights, sending plaster and sparks raining down. It slammed its head once, twice, splintering a door and driving one of its horns deep into the wood. It wrenched itself free with a sickening crack, staggering back and let out a second roar. So loud it felt like the hallway was coming apart at the seams. It was like it didn't see them. And then it did. Two milky white eyes locked on them. It stopped thrashing. Its massive, heaving chest rose once, rattling. It blinked. Then it moved. Fast. Its long body uncoiled like a spring, and it lunged on three legs, hunched low, coming straight for them. Scarlett just stood there, frozen, unable to look away. Penelope leapt, snagging the back of Scarlett's shirt and yanking backwards. Go! She stumbled and turned. They ran. Diving into the stairwell, they flew down. Hazel slipped on a step and skidded, slamming a hand to the wall to catch herself. But they didn't stop. Behind them, the monster shrieked again. Then came the slam of something huge against the stairwell wall. The whole building shook. They hit the first floor and barreled out into the hallway. "Which way?" Penelope cried. "The incinerator!" Hazel screamed, bolting ahead towards the laundry room. The monster was right behind them, lumbering after them, first on two legs, then on three. With a final thud, it reached the bottom of the stairs and surged forward, tearing through the hallway straight into the laundry room, horns gouging deep trenches in the wood, snapping pipes clean as it forced itself through. They were barely ahead of it. They flew past the line of washing machines towards the heavy door at the end of the room. Hazel hit the door at a run and threw her weight into it. It burst open. Her legs went out from underneath her and she fell, tumbling headlong down the stairs. She hit the cement floor with a thump. A moment later, Scarlett and Penelope were at either side, hauling her back to her feet. Something howled behind them. They turned in time to see the beast hit the bottom step. Its body slammed against the walls, antlers scraping the ceiling, carving lines in the wood, trailing ooze behind it. It was faster now, crawling. "There!" Penelope pointed at the incinerator. Hazel sprinted for it, limping, and ripped open the incinerator door. The hinges screamed. "Where's the hand?" Penelope was still holding it, its fingers twitching and curling like spider legs. She threw it. Hazel caught it, gagging at the texture, cold, slimy, bloody. She tossed it in and slapped the red button. The inside ignited with a whoomph. Flames crackled, licking up the walls. Smoke hissed out the top vents. The monster screamed. It launched forward, crashing toward them. Hazel turned just in time to see it coming. She braced herself, but it slammed past her, its milky eyes locked on Penelope. It charged, face snapped toward her, split open with a howl, its mouth a ragged gash packed with jagged teeth and slick with threads of spit. She ducked, throwing her hands over her head, bracing for impact. But it never came. A sudden jolt rocked it off balance. Penelope looked up and saw Hazel. She had hurled herself onto its back, hands tangled in the matted ropes of hair. The thing reared up, shrieking, thrashing wildly to shake her loose. Hazel clung tight, legs flying, teeth gritted. She swung forward, catching a horn, ribs slamming against its head. It roared. "Help me!" she screamed, ragged. Penelope leapt from the side, grabbing the other antler. Hazel screamed again, lungs burning. "Pull now!" Together, they dragged the monster's head down. It howled, spine curving, skull crashing into the concrete, limbs flailing in every direction. They held it there, just long enough for Scarlett to come up behind them, axe raised high. She brought the blade down hard across the back of its neck. The thing let out a scream, piercing and wild. Bone cracked beneath the blade, but not all the way, just enough to send tremors down Scarlett's arms. Penelope and Hazel held on with everything they had, muscles straining. Scarlett hoisted the axe high above her head and brought it down in a brutal arc. This time, the blade sank deep, tearing through flesh with a sickening crunch. Black blood erupted in a geyser, drenching the walls. They staggered back, flinching from the spray. Scarlett raised the axe a final time and swung. With a wet, grisly crunch, the spine snapped. The head flew, sheared clean off, spinning across the floor before landing face up, eyes rolling, mouth opening and closing like it didn't know it was dead. Its legs went stiff. The body collapsed in on itself sideways, crumpling to the floor. Blood poured out of the stump where its head had been, pooling thick across the cement, bubbling as it hit the flames leaking from the incinerator. "Throw it in!" Penelope screamed. Hazel stepped and slipped in the puddle of black tar, landing on her knees. She didn't stop. Crawling through the blood, she grabbed the head by one enormous, twisted horn. It jerked in her hand, teeth gnashing. She dragged it to the incinerator and heaved it in. The flames roared. The incinerator howled like something dying. A twisted shriek that filled the room and bounced off the walls. Penelope wrapped her arms around her head. Scarlett keeled over, hands clamped over her ears, dropping the axe with a clatter. Behind them, the monster's body was still thrashing. It crawled blindly, headless, bleeding. One of its arms flailed, knocking a pipe loose from the ceiling, sending steam billowing out. "We have to burn the whole thing!" Penelope screamed above the hissing steam. Scarlett snatched up the axe and started towards it, shouting a command. "Hold it down!" They hacked the arms off first. Black tar gushed out of the stumps. The monster rolled and flailed, but they pinned it, slipping and stumbling as they grappled with it. "Legs! Get its legs!" Scarlett gasped. They tackled it, chopping. Every time they hacked a piece off, they flung it into the fire, hissing when it touched the flames. It wouldn't stop moving. Even armless and legless, it squirmed, dragging itself through its own blood, trying to reach them. Finally, they grabbed the wriggling torso, all three of them together hoisting it up, and lobbed it into the incinerator, slamming the door shut behind it. Inside, the fire roared. The room filled with smoke, thick and oily, choking them. They coughed, gagged, eyes watering, throats stinging. Then, everything went black. All light vanished. They were swallowed up by darkness. It was like they were buried alive in it. It blinded them, crept into their mouths, filled their ears. Dreadful, disorienting darkness. Hazel's voice rang out. "What's happening?" The lights flickered, dimly. Once, then again, and they came back. They weren't in the basement anymore. They were in Penelope's dorm room. Penelope and Hazel lay tangled in her bed. Scarlett was on the floor on her side, blinking up at the ceiling. The sheets were damp. Their skin was slick and sticky with sweat, the smell of smoke still in their hair. It was dim, but not pitch black. The glow from a street lamp outside bled in through the open window, just enough to make out the room. Penelope sat up first. She fumbled for her phone, wrestling it near and clicking the button on the side. The screen glowed. 3:17. Beside her, Hazel sat up, coughing, gagging on smoke that wasn't there anymore. She clutched her throat.
Where are we?
Penelope peeled off the covers and shot up, scrambling to the door. She flung it open wide and leaned out. Before her, the hall lay quiet, empty, still, perfect in its normality. The cold blue glow had vanished, replaced by familiar warm yellow light. There was no smoke, no black ooze on the walls, and no demon. Scarlett's voice came from behind her. "Did we get it?" Penelope turned. Scarlett was standing smack in the center of the room, shirt dangling off one shoulder, dark hair slick with sweat, looking like she'd been to hell and back. And she was still holding the axe. They tried to sleep that night. All three of them crammed into Penelope's room, just in case Ella somehow found her way back. She didn't. Scarlett slipped out to grab pillows and a blanket from her room, then made herself a little nest on the floor between the two beds. She said it wasn't right to take Ella's bed, since Ella was killed there, even if it was in a different dimension. None of them really slept. They tossed and turned and stared at the ceiling, nerves frayed. By morning, they gave up. They skipped class, walked into town, and spent the day nursing mugs of coffee in the back of a nearly empty diner. They stayed there for hours, talking. First about the door and Ella and the monster, and then about everything else. They never told anyone what happened. Who would believe them? There was no evidence. Scarlett swore she could smell something coming from the incinerator, a stench like sulfur and rot, but no one else could. There were no gouges in the ceiling, no blood on the walls. Even the axe was still in its case, sealed behind the shiny glass box on the third floor. The second axe, the one from the backwards dorm, was a mystery. None of them could explain how it had come back with them or why, but the fact that it did felt important. Maybe it meant something. Ella's death was ruled a suicide. Barely any investigation. No one came for her things. After a while, Hazel and Penelope took it on themselves to pack everything up, sorting what could be donated, even though Scarlett warned them not to touch anything. "You don't know what's still attached," she kept saying. Penelope said it didn't matter. The thing was dead. Whatever had killed Ella had been burned to ash. But still, some items felt wrong to hand off. Those they boxed up in silence, waited until after dark, then drove to the beach with a trunk full. The ocean looked endless in the dark, the moon veiled in a thin scrim of clouds. They crept down to the water's edge, barefoot in the cold sand, each carrying a box. It was a quiet funeral, without a body, with no mourners but them and no eulogies. They hadn't really known her after all. By moonlight, they unpacked the boxes, laying the items on the sand like offerings. Then one at a time, they walked to the shoreline and threw them into the waves, watching the ocean sweep them away in silence. Penelope picked up the last piece, a crocheted scarf, pale blue, with Ella's name stitched small in the corner. It looked like something Olivia would have made. She stood for a long moment, blinking back tears, then raised the scarf and let the wind take it. It spiraled, caught in the breeze, and vanished into the night. The door never came back. For about a week, Scarlett set her alarm for 3 a.m., mostly out of habit, and waited in the hallway, thinking it might reappear if she stayed there long enough. It didn't. Eventually, she stopped. But on nights she couldn't sleep, she still stepped into the hall for a look, just to be sure. For a long time, they scarcely talked about it with each other. Scarlett saged the dorm room, paying special attention to the corner of Ella's bed where the blood spatters had been. Then, she brought over a stack of odd-looking books, with torn covers and gilded pages, each one full of protection spells for them to try. Penelope rolled her eyes but kept her mouth shut. Hazel didn't really believe in any of it, but figured it couldn't hurt, so she helped. The three of them stuck close after that. They started walking each other to class, eating together in the dining hall, falling asleep piled in the same bed like they couldn't stand to be apart for too long. They didn't talk about it, but they trusted each other completely now. More than friends. They were survivors of something. They didn't use the word haunted, but sometimes Hazel would glance twice at her reflection in a window, or Penelope would go tense when the wind knocked on the glass. Scarlett started sleeping with the axe next to her bed, much to Madison's dismay. She laughed it off. For burglars. None of them admitted they were scared, but they were. No one else seemed to notice how the world had changed. But it had. Something was wrong in Hollow Bay. Truly and deeply wrong. The door hadn't appeared again, but they knew it would. Or something like it. And next time, they wouldn't be caught off guard. Next time, they'd be ready. You've been listening to The 13th Cycle, The Door to Death. Written by Twyla Hallow and narrated by Jessica Taiga. See you again when the lights go out.